Hello my dear students and welcome to Zenith Academy Online. My name is Shagufta Jaipuri and we are on part 1 of the chapter Electric Circuits for GCSE Physics curriculum for A-level students, that is year 11 students. Now in this video module we will be talking about electrical charges and fields. So in this module students, we learn what happens when insulating materials are rubbed together, what is transferred when objects become charged, and what happens when charges are brought together. So when positive and negative charges are brought together or both similar charges are brought together, then what happens? And recognize that the force between charged objects is a non-contact force. So we will study how it is a non-contact force between the charged objects. So before diving deep into the topic, first let me tell you what is inside the atom. All of you must be knowing that atom contains subatomic particles like protons, neutrons and electrons. So protons and neutrons are there in the nucleus and electrons revolve in the orbits which are around the nucleus. Here also you can see the protons and neutrons are there. It is forming a dense mass and outside there are orbits in which electrons are revolving. So students, if you see carefully, in the nucleus there are two subatomic particles, that are protons and neutrons. They are together known as nucleons because they belong to nucleus. So what are nucleons? The protons and neutrons are collectively termed as nucleons. So every atom contains one nucleus. You can see here there is one nucleus and one or more electrons. So electron can be one, as in the case of hydrogen, and it can be more electrons. The nucleus is made up of protons and neutrons together called nucleons. A nucleus located at the center of the atom makes up more than 99.95% of its mass, but occupies only 1/1,000,000th of its total volume. So you must note here that all the mass of the atom is concentrated where? In the nucleus. Okay? But still it contains very less volume. Thus most of the space inside an atom is empty. So there is a lot of empty space in an atom. You can imagine the atom like a cricket ground, a huge cricket ground, and the size of the nucleus is around the size of the cricket ball. So you can imagine how small the nucleus is compared to the size of the whole atom. Now electron is the most active component of the atom because it keeps on revolving around the orbits and also it takes part in all the chemical reactions, but it contributes almost nothing to the atom's mass. So when compared to the mass of proton and neutron, the electron has a very small mass or a negligible mass. Now, can atoms have electric charge? Now, we know that in a neutral atom, in a stable atom, the number of protons is equal to number of electrons. That is why we say the atom is neutral. But there are cases when the number of protons may exceed from the number of electrons, or the number of protons is less than the number of electrons. In that case there are charges also on the atom, and these charged atoms which has unequal number of electrons and protons are known as ions. For example, an atom has two protons, so I am putting two positive charges and two electrons. In this case, what will be the net charge on the atom? It will be 0 because one proton and one neutron gets cancelled. So here there are two pairs, so it is getting cancelled. Now suppose there are more number of protons in comparison to electrons. There are 3 protons and 2 electrons. Then this pair gets cancelled, this pair gets cancelled, and what remains is a positive charge. Okay. Now suppose there are less number of protons and more number of electrons. So these gets cancelled and there is an extra negative charge. Okay. So if an atom has fewer or more protons than the electrons, it has a overall positive or negative charge. So here you can see there were less protons, so it has a negative charge. Here the protons number was more, so it has a positive charge. So these are called ions and not atoms because now they have charges. Now this positive charge ion is known as cation and negatively charged ion is known as anion. So atoms also possess charge. Now the nuclear force holds protons and neutrons together. We know that protons and neutrons are there in the nucleus, so they are held together by some force. And what is that force? That force is nuclear force. Okay. So this nuclear force is there between proton and neutron. There is also some force between nucleus and electrons, and this force is electromagnetic force, and this force is weaker than the nuclear force. That is why the electrons do not bump into the nucleus, but there is a small force between the nucleus and the electrons, and that is the reason it keeps on rotating in the orbits of fixed energy and doesn't go away or comes in, right? Now the objects that are charged can affect other charged objects using the non-contact force of static electricity. Okay. So if there is a charged object, then another object which is in the vicinity of that charged object also experience some amount of force, and that non-contact force is of static electricity. Now can you see this man? His hair has raised. Okay. So what is the reason behind this? Now his head and the hair have gained a same charge. For example, all of them have become positively charged, because of which there is a repulsion. We all know that like charges repel, so there is a repulsion, and that is why the hair is standing like this. So these all are the effects of static current or static electricity. We will talk about the reasons of all these effects later on in our chapter. You all must have done this. You all must have rubbed the comb or your scale during your classes and then tried to pull up small bits of paper. So this is not magic, this is also static electricity, and this is also a game of charges. Now here you can see this girl's hair are being pulled by the charges on the balloon, because the hair are also charged and the balloons are charged too. You all must have tried this in your parties at your home. So what do we simply do? We just rub the balloon with some dry cloth, and then these balloons acquire some charge, and we can stick it on the wall which also has a particular charge. Here also you all should try this. Take a balloon, charge it by rubbing it. So from these examples we know now how to charge things by rubbing it with something. So we have charged this, and if we bring this charged balloon near to the source of water or a stream of water, it changes its path. You can see the stream of water is deflecting from its path. So we will study the reasons of all this now. Now let us talk about how we can charge objects by friction. What is friction, students? Rubbing of two things together causes friction. So different materials have different affinity for electrons. So some hold on to their electrons tighter than the others. Some love the electrons more than the others do. So some substances have greater affinity for electrons. They hold the electrons stronger and often gain electrons by friction and become negative. So since they love the electron, they are holding it very tight. So when you rub it with something, okay, it often gains electron. It will never lose because they love the electrons so much. They have greater affinity for electrons, so they will never lose electrons, they will gain electrons, and hence they will become negative. Now some substances are there which has less affinity, okay, less affinity for electrons. They hold the electrons weaker and often lose electrons by friction and become positive. So here you can see in this animation there are two neutral substances. One is a PVC rod and one is a normal cloth rag. So when you are rubbing it, what is happening is you can see that negative charges are flowing from this rag to this PVC pipe. See, the more negative charges have come here. So what happens is the rag has a less affinity for electrons. So when there is rubbing, the electrons move towards the PVC pipe. Now since the electrons are moving there, this has become positive, and now the PVC pipe has more number of electrons, so it has become negative. So in this way we have charged the PVC pipe. How we have charged? By rubbing it with a rag. Now students, the question arises that when we rub two substances, how will we determine which substance has less affinity for electrons and which substance has greater affinity for electrons? So here I have given a table for electron affinity. The substances which are at the top of this table, okay, holds the electrons tightly. That is, they are most likely to gain electrons and become negative. Okay, and the substance which are below, like glass or hair, okay, they hold the electrons loosely and they are most likely to lose electrons and become positive. So the higher your substance is in this series, the higher are the chances that it will become negative. So when you take a cotton cloth and rub it on a glass rod, okay, which will develop positive charge? Glass will develop positive charge. So glass will become positive and cotton rag will become negative. And here in this example you are seeing that the rag is becoming positive and PVC pipe is becoming negative, because you can see here that PVC is here at the top. So here I have taken two examples. You can see here I have taken a polythene rod and rubbed it with a dry cloth. So when we rubbed it, what happened was the polythene rod had more affinity for electrons. So it did not want its electrons to go. So when we rubbed, the electrons traveled from cloth to the polythene rod. Okay, and that is why now there are more negative charges. So this becomes negatively charged, and since the electrons have gone from this, so this becomes positively charged. Similarly here I have taken a perspex rod, okay, and rubbed it with dry cloth. Now this perspex rod had less affinity for electrons, so the electrons travelled from here to the cloth. Since it travelled, this became positive and this became negative. Now you can see here I have taken two substances and I have rubbed them together, so there is friction between these two substances. Now this substance has less affinity. Okay, so it had less affinity for electrons, so it lost electrons. You can see the electrons going from here to here. You can see that electrons have travelled there. Okay, so this became positive and this became negative, right? So objects with less affinity for electrons will lose electrons to ones with great affinity when rubbed together, and friction causes electrons to get bumped out of the place. Okay. So what is the cause that the substances with less affinity are losing electrons? It is the friction. So when we rub it with some substance, the substances that have less affinity for electrons, so from that substances the electrons are bumped out. So we'll read it again. Friction causes electrons to get bumped out of the place with the object that holds them stronger, gaining more. So the objects that hold them stronger gain more of these electrons. The more electrons gained, the more negative the charge. So if it is gaining, for example, 5 electrons, so it is gaining 5 electrons. So what will be its charge? -5. And since it has lost 5 electrons, it will have the charge of +5. The object that lost those electrons will be equally positive. So this is equally positive. The net of the two objects will still be neutral. So if I take it as a system as a whole, then the net of this, that is +5 and -5, becomes 0, right? So the net charge is 0 here. Now what is the force between these two charged objects? So whenever we bring two charged objects close to each other, what is the force that is acting between them? So charged object will experience a non-contact force from another charged object which is there in its vicinity, which is there close to it. So the type of force, which type of force will act on it, will depend on the type of charge. The properties of attraction and repulsion are often used to show that an object is charged. So how do we know that a particular object is charged or not? We see its property of repulsion or attraction. So we all know that when we bring two similar charges together, okay, so two like charges always repel each other and two unlike charges always attract each other, whereas the neutral charges has no effect on each other. So by seeing the properties of attraction and repulsion, we can say that body is charged or not. So now we can relate these things, that a charged rod can pick up small pieces of paper. Why it can pick up small pieces of paper? Because the paper is maybe oppositely charged, and that is why a charged balloon can stick to the wall by attraction, because the wall is oppositely charged, and a charged rod can pull a stream of water towards it. Now let us talk about electric fields. So students, all charged objects have an electric field around them. Okay, so what? So suppose I am a charged object, I have an electric field around me. Okay, so all charged objects have an electric field around them, which shows how they will interact with other charged particles. Okay. Now an electric field is a region. How do you define electric field? It is a region where charges experience a force. Okay. You all must have heard about the magnetic field. Okay, so magnetic field is a region around which any magnetic substances is attracted towards the magnet. It can experience some force. Okay, in the same way, an electric field is a region where charges experiences a force. Now, fields are usually shown as diagrams with arrows. You can see there is a positive charge and there is a negative charge, and the field is shown with the help of diagrams. Okay, so these are radial magnetic fields. Okay, and they are shown by equally spaced arrows arranged in a circle around positive and negative charges I have shown. Now the direction of the arrow shows the direction in which a positive charge will move. Okay, so this is very important point. Here you can see the direction of arrow is outwards. Okay, and in negative you can see the direction of arrow is in this direction. So if I bring a positive charge close to it, okay, in both the cases, if I bring a positive charge close to them, what happens? See, the direction of the arrow shows the direction in which the positive charge will move. So here the direction is outwards, so it will repel the positive charge, and here the direction is inwards, so it will attract the positive charge. That is why like charges, that is positive and positive, repel, and negative and positive attract. So now the next point is, the closer together the arrows are, the stronger the field and the greater the force experienced by charges in that field. Now you can see here, if I keep a charge here and if I keep a charge here, what is the difference? Here the lines are close to each other. You can see they are very close to each other, but here there is a lot of space between. So you can say the closer together the arrows are, here the arrows are close, so the strength of the field is more here, whereas the strength of the field is less here. So the particle will experience more force in this region and less force in this region. So by seeing the two diagrams, we can see that the field is always stronger closer to the charged object. Now let's see here, I have taken two positive charges and I have brought two positive charges together. You can see the field lines here. So with a radial field around a positive charge, other positive charges are repelled away. I showed you in the previous diagram. Here also you can see the positive charges are getting repelled away. Therefore, the arrows are pointing away from the central positive charge. So arrows are pointing away from the central positive charge. So that is why when you bring two positive charges together, they repel. However, if a negative charge is placed in that field, so if a negative charge is placed in a positive field, it would attract the positive charge and feel a force in the opposite direction to the field lines. So here you can see this is the positive charge and I have kept a negative charge here. You can see that it is attracting the positive charges. You can see here the attraction. And it feels a force in the opposite direction to the field line. So that is why we know that when we bring a negative charge close to a positive charge, it will attract. Now here you can see both positive charges, so the field lines are like this. Here both negative charges. So here I have given the example of like charges. Here you can see the change in the arrows. Here the arrows are pointing out, here the arrows are pointing in. But since these two are like charges, they will also repel each other. And now here there is a positive and a negative charge, that is unlike charges. So here you can see they are getting attracted to each other. So you should know how to draw these field lines. You should always remember that from positive this arrow is pointing out, in negative the arrow is pointing inside. See, the positive arrow is pointing out and in negative the arrow is pointing in. Now here you can see I have taken two plates of opposite charge, and you can see there is a uniform field between the plates. So from positive arrow is moving out, in negative arrow is coming in. You can see there are parallel fields. So it is a uniform field between the plates. So the field between two parallel plates, one positive and the other negative, would be a uniform field. So the field lines would be straight, parallel, and point from positive to negative. So there is a uniform field between two parallel plates. Now a uniform magnetic field is shown by arrows pointing from a positively charged plate to a negatively charged plate. Now there are also chances that these electrons leak out. See, if the field is strong enough, the charges can be forced through the insulators such as air. So even through the insulators the charges can be forced through, and then in that cases the spark will occur. And when this happens, when the field is very strong. So if the field is strong enough, charges can be forced through insulators such as air and a spark will occur. So this happens in the lightning. So if the field is strong, you can see the sparks coming out during lightning. Okay. So this is what happens during lightning strike and may happen if a charged person touches a conductor. So if a charged person is touching a conductor, then even through air or through pure water, the charges can be forced out. Okay. Now for example, a person dragging their feet across the carpet. So if he is dragging his feet across the carpet, so it is rubbing the feet across the carpet. So there will be stationary charges which will be created on the body. So the man may become charged. So if they reach out to touch a door handle, so sometimes you must have experienced that when you touch a door handle or try to open it, you feel some sort of shock. So this is because of the same reason, because you have dragged your feet across the carpet, and that is why you have become charged. So when you touch an uncharged object or an object of another charge which has a difference in affinity of electrons, then electrons may flow. This leads to shocks and sparks. So let us revise what we have learned. Some insulating materials become charged when rubbed together. Okay, so the cloth and the PVC rod, they all were neutral, but when you rub together they become charged. Electrons are transferred when objects become charged. So when you rub it, then the electrons are transferred from a substance which has less affinity to a substance which has more affinity for electrons. So insulating material that become positively charged when rubbed lose electrons, and insulating materials that become negatively charged when rubbed gain electrons. And we also studied that like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other with the reasons. We also studied that the force between two charged objects is a non-contact force. We have not touched the two objects, they were just in the vicinity in the electric field of it. So that is all about this video lesson. I hope you liked the lesson. If you have really liked it, please give it a thumbs up and write in the comment box. And if you have not yet subscribed to my channel, do it right away and don't forget to tap on the bell icon. We'll be coming up with the next videos very soon. And on our channel, you'll find all the GCSE videos for physics and chemistry. So do subscribe and do forward it to all of your friends and keep the learning on. Thank you and have a fabulous day.